Hi everybody, welcome back to the show. It's me, Coach Webby, and I'm so excited for this week's video because I have the opportunity to interview someone that I think is super awesome. It's a superhero, superwoman on my books. Had the opportunity to meet this awesome person in Nashville when I was visiting the States. And currently, even though I am in Malaysia, she's all the way in Spain. And she's taking the time to share with me, with all of you parents, the little secrets of how you can actually manage your sanity while taking care of your kids and educating them back at home. Now, she chose to educate their kids and travel the world as a choice. But a lot of us parents, we don't have a choice. It's like right now with the COVID-19 cases, everyone is on lockdown. No one can leave the house. No one can go to work. No one can go to school. Everyone's in the same location, and you have to do something about it. Now, this amazing person, her name is Laura. Not only is she an amazing person herself, but she's also the amazing mother that helped raise amazing children. And not only is she an author of an amazing parenting book, her daughter is also an author of her own life story, as well as how to be kind with other people, which is great because you're teaching people to do the kind thing, the right thing, rather than the easy things or the nice things. So it's really powerful, and it's such a pleasure to have you, Laura. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Oh,
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, so before I continue jabbering on, because like a fanboy, sometimes you get too excited, you know. How about I take the opportunity to just calm down, compose myself, while I allow you to just do a quick introduction of yourself to the audience, the mommy and daddies out there.
So my name, like you said, is Laura Helen. Our family is Forever Family, Forever Free. We travel the world full-time, world schooling our children. So everyone's lifestyle right now that everyone's feeling trapped in, we choose to live like this. So we spend every day together. We go to events together, self-development with the kids. Like you said, my daughter, who's just turned 11, has 5 published books. My little 7-year-old has 11 published books. He has about another 20 on paper. I just can't keep up with his creativity. And we ourselves have 3 parenting books. So we love being out there. We do family retreats, family events. We try and, with the absolute extreme, in hope that it gives you permission to be that little bit more relaxed and a little bit more fun with your kids.
That's exactly right. And it's really amazing because I work with a lot of adults, a lot of amazing people. Some are speakers, and they've always admitted that writing their book or writing their first book has always been a very big challenge. And it took them 10 years, 20 years, some even 50 years for them to come up with that one book finally, to take that life experience. And here you have someone that is barely, not even 15 yet, you know, is still technically in school under the care. Legally, they cannot be on their own. And they are already authoring books, sharing their life experience, being able to speak out, and not only be able to show them their amazing awesomeness, but also to help other children and other people to be awesome as well. That's really great. So what is the magic sauce that you feed your kids with that make them so awesome? And where do we get it? Which store do you buy it from?
I think the key, the magic secret, is you let them be. We don't force feed them anything. We don't even force feed them our beliefs. We've got them to question everything they read, everything they learn, everything they create. They just, it's questions. They go out. We don't ask them what they want to be. We ask them, what do they want to help with in the world? Both of our kids, their books go towards charities. So whenever they make money, 10% of all their profits goes to their chosen charities. So it's a heart-led mission, not just helping other kids learn. It's just letting them be. And by us stepping up and being the best people we can be, we're the living example. They don't do what we say. They do what we are. They be who we be. So we go out with courage and kindness and strength every day. And we've created these kids that have those as superpowers. It's normal to them.
Wow. You see, the message that you give, it sounds so simple, but yet so powerful. And a lot of times, I do notice that when I share with some of my parents, when I do consultation, when I do coaching one-to-one, sometimes after seeing their kids and all that, honestly, they were expecting me to tell them, it's like, oh, mommy, daddy, your child is messed up. This is their problem, da-da-da-da-da. But 9 out of 10 is usually that the kids are amazing people. They are fantastic. They are creative. They are outstanding. It's just a matter of there are little few things that need to be tweaked. And a lot of times it's like the ability to let them become awesome. Now I use the word awesome a lot because right now, again, like I'm saying, I'm a fanboy, so can't stop it. But more importantly is this. Even though something that is simple can be very powerful, but I think the reason why a lot of parents can't grab the strength of something so simple like letting them be, it's also because of their past experience. Because most of us, we were raised with the experience where we have to be so-called controlled. We have to be given tasks. We have to be reinforced in a way that is like a dictatorship. It's like a military style to get things done, to get things to a higher standard. Because if not, it won't happen. And because of that, we kind of
I had that parenting style too. I was a straight A student. I had to do as I told. Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. Was very respect the elders. Do as you're told. Listen, get good grades. I was brought up like that too. To parent like this, you say it's simple, and it does sound so simple.
Yep.
It's complete mindful parenting. And I'm trying not to restrict any of our beliefs onto our children. My poor husband, sometimes we'll catch each other like before you can feel it coming, and it's like, don't you dare say it. Like that belief, sometimes it just comes up because you parent like your parents. So it's being completely aware and just letting them be. And when that thought and feeling comes up, you just need to kind of observe it and go, okay, why am I feeling that? Okay, that's what my parents would have said. That's not the way that I want to be. And I mean, my youngest is 7 now, so I've had 7 years practice. It comes a lot easier. And we still have moments where we're like, oh, I nearly put a belief on them then, where you just accidentally stay safe. Like, it's so hard for a mummy to watch my little boy's a climber. It's so hard to watch him do stuff and not go, oh, be careful, oh, be careful. So many people are in careful bubbles. They're too scared to take risk and live life.
Correct.
So it's getting that, I'm there to catch him if he's going to fall, but I'm not going to always be like, over the top of my, it's such a mindful thing. You have to just consistently practice. And when you mess up, it's okay. We all have those moments. Forgive yourself, move on, don't do it next time.
It's a funny thing. That is exactly the type of mindset that actually helps create amazing, strong, and determined people. And you hit the nail on the right on the top on the head, which is the fact that when we over pamper and overprotect, we're taking away the ability to develop a certain type of immunity, a certain level of strength for the individual to be able to take things forward. And you mentioned a lot about this thing called putting your belief on them. It sounds as if like you have a certain belief and then you want to program it to your child. Now, would you be able to explain like how a typical scenario would be like where a parent accidentally program their child with a certain belief?
Okay, so we have this even with other kids. So we went to a party when my little boy was tiny, and they got all the party food on the table, and he ran over and he grabbed 4 breadsticks. Now he's just one little kid and he grabbed 4 breadsticks, and all the kids were about to go, oh my goodness, he took 4. And I went over and went, shh, watch, like it was a secret, just to give them that second of pause. They watched him toddle over. He gave 1 to mummy, 1 to daddy, 1 to his sister, and then he had 1 himself, and he kept the broken one and gave everyone the full one. Now if we'd all jumped on him and gone, oh my God, he took 4, he'd have been like, oh my goodness, what, like we could have put him off sharing for life. Like,
correct.
We call it the 10-second rule when we talk to parents. Give them 10 seconds. So my little boy ran and climbed up this big rocky thing, and I was like, oh my goodness, like my heart's going. I'm like, and I'm like, count to 10. Why is he doing this? There was 1 flower at the top. He went and picked the flower and brought it back to mummy. If I'd have shouted at him for climbing this crazy thing and didn't see the magic that he saw, he wouldn't do that for me all the time.
That is so powerful. Wow. Because I get where you're coming from, because you're talking about like that belief that we put on them is like the breadstick things. It's like he's going to go there, and we take our adult life experience and thinking, oh, that is selfish. That is hogging everything. We take our belief and kind of like conditioning on them. But if you were to give yourself 10 seconds to allow it to unfold, to see what really is happening, something beautiful could have happened. And same with the child climbing up. It's like, oh my God, I want to save them. In the belief, it's like, he will definitely fall.
Yeah.
and we just go into protection mode. And to the point that there was something beautiful, because in his mind, he's like, I want to give my mom the very best, and it's worth the journey. And that's an amazing story there, because by the end of the day, a lot of parents, they do certain things not because they hate their kids or don't like the kids or don't want the kids to enjoy themselves. They want the kids to be loved and protected. Everything mommy and daddy do, they do it out of love. The question is that the only thing that they can do? And you just demonstrated the 10-second rule, a simple thing, a 10-second rule, to be able to change a behavior that could potentially change the child's life forever. Wow, that is mind-boggling.
His kindness and sharing and his heart, and I don't get me wrong, I'm the most overprotective parent in the world. If you know my daughter's story, her life before 3 was horrendous, and so I'm not going to let anything happen like that again. So I am the most overprotective parent. I think you definitely need to tell the story. You need to tell the story. Okay, so before my little girl, we adopted her. We brought her home when she was 3. Before 3, she went through every form of abuse possible. She's got scars on her head where they put cigarettes out on her. They left her for weeks without food. She used to carry her baby brother, who was only 1, to a shop or garage to find food. Police would come, take them back. Social services she's been through every form of abuse possible by 3. So she's had that really extreme life. So I am crazy overprotective. But my kids don't know that. They know I love them and I'm there for them, but I'm not holding them back. It's getting that balance.
I think that
my daughter now stands on stages and speaks in front of thousands. What people don't see is I'm always close enough that if anyone was to get anywhere near, I'm there. Rah. I'm mummy bear. I'm a big bear full of love. Touch my kids. Rah.
Someone once gave me this analogy. Amazing parents are like soap. It's like they are there when you can't see it, but they're there. They've done their job to make it safe enough, but they're not. You don't see it. You don't see it to feel like you're dependent on them. So that's a very big deal, and that's something that a lot of parents are finding it difficult. And you know what? I understand the challenge of being able to just let go and let the child be their child. What would you say? Would you be able to advise parents? Like what would help them feel comfortable? What was the baby step? Because the 10 seconds is an amazing first step. What can they continually do to be able to let the child be the child?
They need to be a child. The biggest secret to your kids knowing how to be kids and just be free and wild and crazy is you do it. This is one of the things in our book, and I love it because it's so fun. Even if you have to go somewhere and drive far away to make sure you don't know anyone, go and have a day where the kids are in control. We always give the example, because our kids were younger, of like a soft play area. You go, the kids are in charge. So you have to run around, be kid-like, follow the kids. For the first 10 minutes, you'll be like, oh my God, this is so awkward. After 10 minutes, you'll forget all about that and you'll be in the ball pool and down the slides. And by being free and releasing and joy and fun, finding your inner child will help your kid find theirs.
I think that resonates a lot with me, because every time when we do our workshops, we do our coaching classes with the kids, I always become the big size kid. Of course, on the fun element, on being creative, on being joyful, but at the same time, I'm matured enough to understand what is right and wrong, to understand what is safe and what is not safe. So being able to turn on the little child in us to be able to bond with our children. And this is perfect for the very young kids. What about those children that is now moving on to become young adults? Now, if you build a very strong relationship with your child at a very young age, it becomes easy when they become young adults. But sometimes, because of how society works, because how parents are really out there all day, all night working to provide for the family, not many parents have the opportunity to spend that bonding time with their kids. And let's just say that was the scenario right now, and they would like to start. Of course, they don't have hours and hours, but right now, because of the fact that everyone is locked down, they have this opportunity to face their children, the children face them. But again, there's this awkwardness. What would you recommend for them to do? Because for them to be a child suddenly, and this child might be a teenager, it's like, oh, that's so lame. They might not even want to they might not want to participate. So how could you help a mommy and daddy out with this particular situation? Their kids are young teens and they want to bond.
It's getting to know them. It's really getting to know them. So our family retreat, the last one we did, we purposely made sure all the older kids came to the last one. I mean, we've got space, so we had quad bikes. Ooh. So parents and kids would go off on the quad bike with a mat. They'd have to work together. It just broke the awkwardness. But something else we also suggest is creating dreams together. When we do our one-day workshop, it's so fun. Something you could play with your guys is we take the kids go with the kids, the grown-ups come with us. The kids write down, if you can wave a magic wand and make anything happen, what would be your top 5, 10 things? And the kids make their list and the grown-ups make their list. We purposely make the parents go first. So the parents say, new house, new car, job, money, blah, 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 stuff.
Yes.
The kids say, I want daddy to be home more at meal times. I want to be able to do more of this with mummy. And it's heart. And it's just, it breaks down so much perception. You don't have to work so hard because they don't want the stuff. They just want you.
Correct.
They remember the times, and of all the things my kids have had, they remember the time we went for an adventure and daddy fell in the sea trying to balance on a log. Like, it's the silly stuff that they remember.
All right.
It's those moments of being together.
You're right.
And creating dreams and working out together. If you are someone, the reason we created our first book was because the more successful we got, we realized we were the only family still together. Because so many people that are so driven to go make it happen, they make it happen. And then the partner files for divorce and the kids are gone. They've missed too many matches, games, recitals, hairdos. They've missed too much. Whereas if the family know your dreams and they know why you're out there, why you're away so much, why you're doing these meetings, why you're doing all these things, they know you're doing it for them. That makes a huge difference. It seems obvious to the parent that's going for it, but it's not to the family that's missing you.
Correct. It's the same other way around, because when a teenager is doing something, they are pursuing something. Let's say, for example, a game or pursuing someone to like them, or any of this kind of case. To them, in their mind, it's so obvious. And when parents don't see it the same way, they get agitated. And rather than working together, they have conflicts. And that's very powerful, because you talk about this concept called dreams. And this is something that I noticed, not just working within families, it's also working in organizations. Large organizations, when you hire a lot of really powerful, strong leaders, but these leaders are solopreneurs, one man kick all kind of individuals. The companies tend to drop. And then there's this one particular CEO, and he noticed this particular pattern. And what he did is he took all these amazing people and got them to kind of like share their deepest, darkest secrets or dreams and nightmares. And when they started sharing, they suddenly felt a bit more comfortable with each other. It's not feeling like, oh, this person's going to stab my back, I'm going to stab that person's back, nothing like that. And when they got through to that, the next level is, all right, so all of us now, we have a bonding. The question is, right, are we going to keep this ship to sink and we all lose this bonding, everyone will lose everything that's important and dearest to us? Or are we going to come together and get something done? So let's all together come together and let's see what we want to do. And this same idea was also adapted into family, where especially for cases where I remember reading this, where this family has been, in another context, it's a broken family, point where the mom has been taken away from the child because of the fact that the mom was not able to kind of take care of her own self because of health issues. And because certain countries, when you're not fit to be a parent, the government comes in and take them into a system. So what happened is many years have passed by, and then this mom has kind of gotten herself back together, health-wise improved, and she got the opportunity to now get the children back. But after being apart for so many years, how do you bond? How do you love each other again? It's not just because you have blood relations that means you love each other. It's kind of like a connection. So what happened was that they have this kind of counseling session where the counselor's focus was exactly that. Share your deepest, darkest secret, but to me only, not with the other child. And what happened? They wrote it down, and then the same thing, they got the child to write it down as well. And then when they met the next round, they shared the letter by mistake on purpose. So they shared the note that they wrote for the parent to the child and the child's one to the parent. And then they finally felt like, oh, okay, I didn't know this. And then they asked for permission. It's like, hey, is it okay, since you read this, is it okay for me to share that your daughter or your mom has also read this by mistake? And is it okay if I put you guys in the room to kind of share it up? And they slowly, it's like onions, it's like they slowly unpeel those layers to go back to the core, the real thing that is very precious to both of them. And from there, because they were able to bond, then they were able to start planning, okay, this is going to be our family together. What do we want? Like for me, I want to make sure that, we have so much money in the account, and I want to make sure that I can prepare and give you whatever you need for your future. What about you? And they work things out. It's exactly like what you mentioned, but it took a bit more time. You did it in one day, it took weeks.
Yeah. So, and because there's so many,
Yes.
you just start seeing the pattern, and the parents are in tears, and the kids are like, wow, we're getting through, they're listening. It's such a powerful thing. Like, and our family, the truth is everything. The truth is the core of everything. Truth and love. It sounds so obvious, but that's all it is. We have family meetings and we rate each other out of 10. How did I do this week? How did I do out of 10? Okay, how did I do as a mummy? Okay, I got an 8. What do I need to do to be a 10? And it's like, you did this and you did that, and this was awesome. To get a 10, I need more hugs. I need more you time because you've done lots of work this week.
Well, that's powerful.
Got it. And we're always aiming for 10. The kids, oh my gosh, you've been amazing. This week, you really just didn't listen at bedtime. So if we can improve that, you'll get a 10. And we're always, it's constant and never-ending improvement. I love
that. Is spot on.
Live by it.
I definitely, I need you to help me with this thing. There's 2 things that parents need to hear. Okay, number 1, you just mentioned about rating yourselves, getting everyone to rate you. Now, that's amazing. The thing is, when you mention like rate me, and then they say, oh, you got 8 out of 10. Now, your first response is, oh, that's awesome. Now, how can I get to 10? Your first thing is, what can I do to be better? A normal person is, why am I only at 8? What did I do wrong? How did I got so low? It's mind-boggling. And this is something that I notice is the reality of human society. People react. They don't respond.
Yeah,
the difference,
parenting.
I think the difference here is react is like when something happens without thought, without proper thinking, straight away happen. It's like a reflex. Response is when you actually already process. I think a great teacher, someone that you and me both know, they talk about the process where they go through like a very micro context in their brains. The first thing they do is like they ask themselves, what am I focusing on? Is this something positive? Is this something negative? And then with that direction, it's going to be the definition. It's like, what does this mean? If it's positive, the positive meaning. If it's a negative, negative meaning. And then finally, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. And if you train this well enough, it'll be exactly like what you did. It's like, oh, 8 out of 10. Okay, how can I get 10? Straight away thinking of something amazing. Whereas if a person reacts, it's like, why only 10? Why not 10? What is this? What is this? They'll be very defensive.
You've touched on a huge key to parenting. Is not to react, it's to respond. Yeah. But the 10-second rule makes such a difference to that. Because when a kid does something, unless it's dangerous, if I raise my voice, my kids know they stop dead, because it means they're about to get run over, they're about to get electrocuted. It's something serious, because I don't, people are always like, why do you never shout? Like, I'm not a shouty parent at all. If I shout stop, my kids will literally freeze because mummy never shouts.
Yeah. Don't overuse
happening.
it.
Yeah. Even if they're in the wrong, take a second. Intention. What was their intention? This works in relationships too. It's never their intention to try and annoy you, to try and break something, to try and break down something. Their intention is never what your reaction is. Of course, they're climbing on the table because they want to fall and smash their head open. That's not their intention. What are they trying to do? If it's a little kid, it's a castle. They're just trying to climb the castle. Okay, understand that. Build them a fort and let them go into a castle instead of on top. Like, there's always a truer intention behind it. So if you can take a second to just see what that is and then respond to that instead of reacting to your perception.
Yeah, that's going to be very powerful. And I think it's perfect because you put the 10-second rule to allow the person to calm down, to allow the brain to process the information, to allow the matured parent to be able to calmly look and assess the situation rather than just react. And something that I advise a lot of my parents when I work with is to use Post-it notes. Because as human beings, we don't change overnight. We wish we could, but sometimes it's not that our behavior change overnight, but we can make a decision that can change our life forever overnight. So the decision can be the actions that you take towards developing this new habit. So what happened is I advised my parents to use Post-it notes and write a particular message on the Post-it note. And I think over here is 10 seconds, or just write breathe. Or do a countdown, or do a love sign. And the reason why you draw it or write it down and then take that Post-it note, everywhere you know that you're spending a lot of time at home, at work, or in the office, every time you know where you're going to be spending a lot of time and you're going to get triggered by something, put the Post-it note somewhere eye level that you can always see, and allow yourself to use that as an anchor, as a trigger for you. Whenever something happens, use that as an indicator. And a a lot of people, when I give this advice, they don't believe that this will help. But let me tell you how it helps. It doesn't help straight away. The first few days, it will be like when you post it, let's say in the kitchen, around the kitchen area. And then after that, something happened and then you got all very upset. You're like, oh, what the hell? How I can't believe this. Now, after that whole incident, you realize that you will then look at this post-it note and then you're like, what is this post-it note? Oh, it's this. Oh, the 10 seconds. Oh, I didn't do the 10 seconds. Now, and then after that, the next time that is about to happen, as they are getting upset, their eyes will suddenly ponder and go towards the post-it note. Because in their brain, something happened. Because this is the same thing that students use when they do exams. Now, do you realize, like, after an exam or after a test, students tend to look at the test paper and look for what is wrong. Correct? They look for what is the mistakes that they made and then how to improve it. And then when they do the next test, even if the test is exactly the same, they usually get the wrong one correct. Why? Because their brains are focused on, okay, this is something wrong. This is what I want to improve. I'm going to focus on that. And because so much focus is on it, you tend to push even more. And I noticed working with parents, after a week or 2 weeks of doing this consistently, they realized that just before they're about to get angry, they looked at the post-it note, they stopped themselves. And I was like, wow, what was the secret? Oh, the other day, just before, after every time I got angry, I then regretted it. I'm like, huh, what do you mean? It's like, after I got angry, I was like, I forgot to breathe. And to me, that awareness is your first step. It proves that you're moving forward already. The fact that you're aware that you have made something and you could have done this thing instead, it's your first 2 steps forward. It's just a matter of time for it to be a mastery level. A lot of parents expect to be amazing parents straight away out of the box. That's not going to happen. But the steps by steps, and that's the thing that I really admire people like yourself. You walk the talk. You went through that journey, and it's always so much easier to look back than to look forward sometimes. It's like, before taking the exam, it's like, oh my God, it's so difficult, it's so tricky, I will do it. Then after doing the test, you'll be like, that's so easy. And then you look at your juniors, this is a piece of pie. So in a sense, it's like, because you've done it before, you realize how easy it is. So to a lot of other parents, I know it's difficult. That's why I would encourage each and every one of you, post-it notes, use like pictures or drawings, put it around the places that you're in, and to remind yourself of the 10-second rule, to allow yourself to process it. It will give you the starting steps towards being that calmer, better, amazing parent. Would you agree, Laura?
Absolutely. Even with teenagers, when they're doing things, they don't get up and think, how can I annoy my parents today? They have something else on their mind, which is why they've forgotten to do their chores or why they've slipped with something. They're focused somewhere else. So those 10 seconds give you a moment to think, okay, they haven't done this just for my reaction. What are they doing this for? And if they are doing it for your reaction, they needed some of your attention. But it's all, and you've got to improve. You can't expect your kids to change and improve if you're not going to. My kids have made me the best version I can be, because if I don't be that example, how do I expect them to be that?
You're absolutely right.
We can't tell them one thing while we do another. It doesn't work.
And I love parenting. Why? Because parenting is one way, it helps you become a better person because you love the other people that you want to help. Because I noticed that I've had the opportunity to work with amazing parents, and some of these parents are amazing because they are successful on their own, but when they started to have a family and they started to kind of like put family first, they actually became better earners. They were able to earn better amounts of money and still have a balanced family. They were able to manage their time better because of the fact they want to spend the time with the family. They were able to get job done more efficiently because of the fact that they miss their family so much. And I noticed that humans are amazing. They are super powerful beings if we have something that we love enough to motivate us to do it. And one mentor did recommend doing this. Is like they talk about vision boards, where they have a board of the things that you want in life. If you're a parent, create a vision board about the things that you love. And I think that's a great reminder to kind of like help us be wanting to be that better parent and to allow ourselves to go through obstacles that we face. In a sense, it's like we're not talking about like the thing, example that you mentioned, like the car or the house, but about the emotions that you want to get. I experimented with one of my parents, because I had this one parent that was finding it difficult to be patient with the child. And when I coach the children, is amazing. They are great. It's just that every time that they deal with the kids, he just gets very agitated. He's just like, oh, why are you not? Oh! And I asked him, I said, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you could you make a vision board? And this vision board, right, I want you to put of the best emotions over there. Now, when I talk about emotion, I'm talking about like what are the things that you want? What does it make you feel? Like I say, oh, I want my wife to make my favorite dish. Okay, how does that make you feel? Oh, it makes me feel like she cares for me. Okay, good. Take that photo of her cooking or put that. Then I say, what else do you want? Oh, I want to be able to drive my new car. It's like, oh, what does that make you feel? It makes me feel like I've achieved something. Okay, good. Put that picture over there. And then he came to the child. I was like, okay, tell me about the child. I was like, what would you like your child to do for you? And then it's like, oh, I want my child to graduate. I was like, oh, okay, graduate. What would that do for you? Then I don't need to pay for their tuition fee anymore. I'm like, okay, so don't need to pay for the tuition fee, right? And what does that mean to you? It's like, then I don't need to worry about them anymore. You see, at the beginning, I almost reacted as well. I almost reacted, it's like, how you care more about your money than anything else? But then I realized that the reason why he is forking out that money, because money is hard to earn, that's one. But the second thing is also because he's putting in money, but he's not seeing his child working as hard as him. He feels like the child doesn't value his future, that the father is like putting everything he can into the future, and he's worried that the child will just mess it up. So for him, when I ask him like what kind of picture they want to see, it's not that he wanted a graduating photo. It's the fact that the child is sitting down on a table doing work. And then that's where I discovered the reality that the dad don't realize how much work the son is doing. And then I re-educated the dad and said, you know what, I'm going to be teaching your son not how to study harder, because studying harder doesn't work for him. Don't you agree? And then he said, yeah. Now, okay, I'm going to teach your son how to study smarter. So even though he studied less, but he gets the results. Would that be fair? Then he said, okay, let's see how. And what happened was I got the son to do a timetable. Now, in this timetable, I told the son, I want you to have a balanced life. I want you to have two things on the timetable. The things that you know that you should do as to help you improve, and the things that you do to just help you relax. Or in other words, fun things and serious things. And he did it. He put it in two color schemes, one red color, one blue color. And then after that, I got him, okay, you need to show this to your dad. Your dad needs to know what's happening. You need to know what's happening. So your dad will now know when he can disturb you and when he should not disturb you. Fair? And what happened is I got that to accommodate as well. I was like, okay, whenever it's this period, don't disturb him. Let him do whatever he wants during this period. It's his downtime. And then when it comes to the study time, this is the time when you make sure he studies. You want to go all out, go all out. And he started to realize, seeing the son, when it comes to the study time or the working time, the son is actually doing work. And because in the past, the dad did not realize there was a structure to the son's madness. And because of that, the dad didn't feel satisfied, didn't feel calm, didn't feel okay, because he was in the dark. So in a very big way, sometimes it's getting things structured, like working together, being able to kind of like communicate with each other, to have this understanding with each other and be able to support each other. And that's why I think that emotional vision board is really powerful, because you're not just doing it for the surface reason. There's already in-depth reasons as well. And I believe a lot of parents out there, everyone is concerned about their child's health, well-being, emotions, not just for now, but also for the future. But the question that I think you will definitely ask them is, do you want to help them be safe now, just with you protecting them? Or would you want them, or to help them grow stronger so that they are more well adapted? I think that's a very important question that we need to ask, because if you just want them to be safe right now, just hug them, hold them. But if you want them to be able to be able to grow and be safe when you are no longer alive, you need to let them go. So that's the question I ask almost every parent that I work with. If your goal is to not help them grow up, then my service is not that important to you, because my vision is very, very simple. I want to help educate the child to have the level. The reason why we teach kids learning skills is because I want them to just not learn in school, but also learn in life, so that they don't depend on anyone else. so they can learn to depend on themselves and their own abilities. Because I'm a big believer that one day mommy and daddy won't be around anymore, and they need to be able to take care of themselves. And if we don't do what it takes to help them be independent now, they're going to suffer later on. So I'm a big believer of that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think life skills are much more important than academic skills.
Oh,
don't get me wrong. My kids can read and write and numbers. They're very switched on, but they've never had a class. They've never had sit down maths and the scenario you played out. But what if the kid didn't have study time? What if it's not his passion? What if he doesn't want to do that? Does the dad not love him anymore? He's only focused on the educational side.
Yep.
The books my kids write are life skills. Financial education, the law of attraction, how to set goals and achieve them, how to have courage and be kind. If you ask my kids, the top lesson I teach them is how to have courage and be kind. Because doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it is the right thing. But they have a certain mindset. It's their mindset that we've created. And when you said about the dad has this with the kid, he's associated that pain to his child. With that kind of thing, we'd suggest journaling, where at the end of every day, you write down 3 to 5 things that you love about your kid. We do it with relationships and couples as well. So every single day, you have to find at least 3 things that you love about that person. And it sounds so simple and so obvious. Of course, we can find 3 things, but you have to keep looking deeper and deeper. If you start looking for what you love, what do you see more of? You start changing your association and start focusing on what you love about them instead of the things that make you stressed about them.
You know, that's very powerful, because sometimes when you love someone so much and in their mind, they felt like they were unjustified or they were wrong by this person, there's so much emotions that stop them wanting to fix it, to do what is right. And because when you love someone, sometimes you tend to have so high intensity of emotions that could cloud your judgment on behavior. And being able to put it on journal, it's like the ability to kind of like pour out the emotions that you have internally, to put down 1 or 2 or 3 things that you really like about this person. Is allowing yourself to have that freedom to express. And in a great way, that's very powerful, because imagine if someone, like the 10-second rule, about like if you are at that state of anger and use that state of anger to talk to someone, even though you're saying the best of words, that tonality, the emotions, it's definitely going to ruin it. Yeah. So in other words,
and
it's
people,
like that.
Sorry, parents also take for granted that their kids know they love them. Especially older kids. Yeah. My kids, I say it so much, I can't help it. I just, they're so scrummy. My kids absolutely know, and I know they'll always know, because I don't take it for granted that they know that. When they do things, even if they don't get things right, like we celebrate failure in our family, because it means they've learned something. As long as they learn and grow from it, failure is amazing. So we make sure we celebrate, and we tell them like, oh my gosh, you completely failed, but your effort was incredible. What did you learn? What would we change next time? And it's the perception, it's how we tell them. By keeping a journal of what you love about them, not only will it change your perspective, give it to them a year later. This time last year, I was really struggling. You weren't working as hard at this as I thought, my perceptions, my beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Explain how you really felt. I want to show you that I don't take you for granted. This is what I love about you. That's a breakthrough. How will the kid feel to read all these different things? It can be simple, like, oh, the way my daughter did her hair today is so beautiful. I don't know how she does that. To, they did amazing in their exam.
They helped around the house.
They made grandma a cup of tea when she didn't even ask. And they grabbed the shopping when I was struggling to carry it. Like, it can be the tiniest things. But when they start to see, they do appreciate. Because the biggest thing I have with coaching my parents is my kids don't listen to me. And I have to be, I'm a caring, compassionate, kick up the butt. And I'm like, I love you. You love your child. You tell them off when they do something wrong. How often do you tell them when they're doing something right? When your kid's quietly playing and being beautiful and brilliant, do you ever go over to them and go, God, you're so awesome. Wow, that looks great. Oh, that picture you're drawing is amazing. No, they're quiet. You leave them alone. You've left them alone so long, they're annoyed and want your attention. So they go and whack their sibling, or they go and break something. They're getting naughtier and naughtier and they're not listening because all they want is attention, and you only give it to them when they do something wrong.
Correct.
Start focusing on the things they do right.
True. It's so because it's so easy to react than to respond. So this is really powerful information, because giving us a chance to that this whole thing is a training module on its own. First thing first, 10 seconds. Whatever happens, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And then after this 10 seconds, what can you do? And let them be children. Let them be children. Let them play. Let them make the mistakes. Celebrate their wins, and also celebrate the wins from their losses. I love the statement that you talk about failure. I'm a big supporter of this idea where failing is the best gift you can give your child. I always tell parents, you give them two amazing presents in life. The first one, you give them the gift of life itself. And the second one, you give them the gift of failure. And a lot of times parents are very shocked. It's like, how can I give my child failure? No, you give them failure every time, because as human beings, we fail, we make mistakes. But it's not about the failing that I'm worried about. I'm more focused on how do you deal with the failure. Because there's guarantees in life. You will guarantee die, you will guarantee pay taxes, and you will guarantee that you have to fail. The question is, how do you deal with failure? So in other words, it's like when you deal with failure, like exactly the same thing that I asked you just moments ago, it's about, you got 8 out of 10. To some people, that is bad. It's like, oh, why? What else did I not do? But for you, you were conditioned. It's like, oh, great. Okay, how else? What else can I do to get to 10? That was the distinction of how you determine that particular experience. And to you, that was not a failure bad thing. It's a failure good thing. So how to condition? And then that's an amazing thing. That's why I'm a big believer of failure. The question is, how can parents get comfortable with failure? It's like, oh, my child.
Parents are really good at this. When they're babies, they're really good. When your baby gets up and tries to walk and falls over, you don't go, what are you doing, you stupid baby? You let them try 1,000 times or however long it takes until they walk. You don't let them try 5-10 times and go, okay, this walking, you're not cut out for this.
Yes.
This is not for you.
Yeah, don't walk anymore.
Yeah, could you imagine if we treated our babies like we do our teenagers? They would never do anything. When they go, mama, mama, he said mama. If a kid says a word wrong when they're a teenager, you're like, are you stupid? Not try again, you pronounce it like this. Parents are just quite quick to, you need to go back to that. They're still learning this.
Why is that the case? Why do you think like parents get so agitated so fast? Like when they were babies, they were so okay. It's like a new toy. It's like you have a new toy, you're so excited about it, and then like after a while you get bored about it. Why are they acting like that? Why is that the case?
I think it's just stress and time. And when you first have that baby, you give it more of your time. You're around it more. You know that baby. When they get older, we're fortunate. We have our kids at home. So we have that crazy close bond because we watch all their breakthroughs.
Yes.
When they're learning it at school with strangers, you're getting more and more distance. So, and then they have their peer group. If they're not keeping up with the rest of the peer group, oh my goodness. Were you comparing as babies so much? Like some babies crawl at this age, some babies crawl at that age. Do you think, oh God, this baby is so stupid? No, they'll do it in their time. They'll do it when they're ready. It's the same throughout life and throughout failures. You said about the 8 out of 10 thing. If we always got 10 out of 10, we wouldn't, what would we do next week? There's nothing
no value.
to
Nothing special
improve.
about it.
There's nothing. No, while a 10's like, we have weeks when it is a 10, which is awesome. Yay. But we try and always provide, because our little girl, because of her past, she used to be such a pleaser in the beginning. So she'd be like, oh, mummy, daddy, you get a 10. Of course we do. Compared to her last parents, we're phenomenal. But we had to break down like, oh, that's really great. Is there nothing that you would like us to do more or to help more with? Or we had to really break it down so that she would give us less than 10. Failure is so huge. It's so important. If you teach them now that failure is wrong, they're never going to try at anything.
You're right.
Look at Edison. My kids love the example of Edison. 10,000 times until he found the right one. Colonel Sanders, how many no's did he get before he got a yes? Like,
it's life.
People don't try, and they just, failure is so important. We celebrate failure more than we celebrate success because you don't learn from success.
Success is kind of like the end result, but the journey is all about the failure.
And parenting is this.
Yes, parenting is literally living with the, because a lot of people like to kind of like, you see, this is the thing, a lot of people look at the successful people as the successful people, but they forget there is parents to these successful people. And a lot of people forget to interview them. And I guess for those that are in education, those of us that are itchy enough, we tend to want to ask, it's like, how do you do this? How do you make this happen? And that's the reason why I got to interview you in Nashville, remember? It's because it's like, Kenneth was going up, getting the 2 Comma Club, achieving amazing success in his life. And his dad was there. And my number one person that I wanted to interview is not Caleb, it's the dad. Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Matt. Can I do a quick interview with you? What do you do to your son? And the reason why is because it's the parents that set this journey that actually help the child to become who they are. And just like you.
And do you know the story with Einstein and Edison?
Yes.
With their parents?
Do share.
I love their parents' stories. So Edison, 10,000 times. When he was a little boy, his mum asked him to get past the milk. He picked the milk up, dropped it, smashed it on the floor. She clears the glass away and says, play in the milk, we'll clear it up later. And doesn't make a deal of it. Later on, they get milk bottles full of water, and she says, let's see how many different ways we can carry the milk and which works best to not drop it.
Ooh.
And then you've got Einstein. He got sent home from school with a letter saying, your son is a retard, he's too stupid, we haven't got the time, teach him at home, do whatever you will. The kids gives mummy the letter, mummy reads it, and she's like, your son is a genius. We do not have the professors needed to teach your child. You'll have to find your own education at home. Puts the letter away. Loads of years later, his mum's died. He's a world-known genius. He finds his letter in a drawer. It wasn't until years after she passed that he realized he was a retard. So she had that belief he was a genius. He's the most famous genius we know on the planet. I love hearing like you said, I'm all about parenting. Like, it's my biggest passion. My goal is to be world's best mummy on the planet. So I want to know what the parents do. When people get interviewed, I'm like, okay, what's behind it? What's behind it? Kevin Hart, will.i.am. They go straight to their source. They go straight to my mum. My mum taught me like this. My mum taught me like that. Kevin Hart gives so many examples.
Correct.
I love, it's the parents behind the parents.
And every parent's journey has the similarity of definite big issues, big challenges, and every one of their child messed up. Every one of the child did something silly, stupid, unbelievable, but it is not because of the thing that they did wrong, but how they were dealt with, how the parents actually respond to it. Of course, their parents were not perfect to begin with. Their parents were not like straight away, it's like, oh, am I saying to help you? No, in the sense like they also have their ups and downs time. But the beautiful thing is being able to focus on the love of having that child to become a child, for them to explore and expose themselves. And I think that 10-second rule, I think I say that 10-second rule like a million times so far.
I've sold you on that, right?
Yeah. I was buying before you sold it. So the reason why, because I'm a big believer of that. And I think that's a really powerful thing, that 10 seconds, giving yourself the chance to actually just put yourself back and process. Super powerful, because over here, a lot of parents are very protective by nature, and they allow that reaction to become their parenting styles. And that can be dangerous, because when you don't put any thought into it, you just automatically do it. They won't give you an opportunity to improve on it, because it's all automated. All right. So it's very important to have that realization, to be able to upgrade that system of parenting. And I love the example that you gave about when parents have a newborn baby, very, very young, very tender, and they were so passionate, so caring, so forgiving to the young baby. And then after that, when the child grows up, that forgiving nurture, the nature part was gone, or it has reduced. And I think one of the big things is because we take it for granted, or in other words, we assume, parents or any human being, we assume that this person should know what to do, know how to do, and should be able to do it. In our mind, we see our child like, oh, the perfect A student, and this should be. But this person is like this. And every time that child is doing something outside the version that you're looking at, you get furious. So I think that's also a very important point to bring it out, because if parents are setting a certain type expectation in their mind, and their child is not meeting it, there's two things that can happen. Either, number one, you get so upset about it and you get so worked out about it, you start pouring it out on your child. And guess what? Your child's not going to feel good. And guess what? They won't want to do it, especially for you now. But the second thing is, right, like the example of the 8 out of 10. This is what you wish to see. This is where your child is. What can you do to help this person be able to grow up to be like that? That will be a more powerful technique. And the only way you will be calm enough to be able to differentiate this, that automatic response or process and work on it calmly, is that 10-second rule. That's why I'm going to be selling it all day, all night long. 10-second rule. 10-second rule. Give yourself 10 seconds.
And you get faster. The more practice you have, you get faster. Like the example at the party, my kid was only about 2 or 3 then. I was already quick enough to quickly shush the kids. If I'd have let that play out and not reacted, and I'm very much a stand up for my kids. I could have been quiet and let the kids, and then my little boy would have been like, oh my goodness. And I could have quietly told him he's great. I took the whole room on. Like, no, shh, what? Like in a fun, animated way.
Exactly, like, you became a child again. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so great at being a child. But so are my kids. They're so free. They're so fun. I don't focus on, oh my gosh, they need to read by this age. They need to be straight A's. They need to be able to do this and do that. It's unconditional. People say it, but they don't mean it. Change your expectations for appreciation. What if your kid is completely not academic? Are we going to just hate them and scold them and what? Well, then where will they be? You show me a huge successful person that got straight A's and did all the education. It's very few compared to those that kept failing and started to find new ways and create new ways and got success because they were great at failing and learning from it.
That's so true. That's why some of the best things that when my students come back with, like making mistakes in exams and all that, that's perfect. Now, how do you deal with it? And that's one of the big reasons why I love school. Like, school is a perfect example for them to have a perfect place to fail. Because in school, you have to be able to, there's certain like thresholds, and it's because everyone is like, there are things that you love that you have to do. There are things that you don't love and you still have to do. That's how life is. It's like, ask people, any adults, do you love paying taxes? But you have to do it. All right. So what happened is that's the reality of life. And I love school. Why? Because it gives them the chance to do things where they get graded. Now, I'm not saying grading is great. I'm just saying like there's an opportunity for them to learn how to deal with things. Like, for example, when a student make a mistake, they get a wrong answer, they lose marks. Again, how do they deal with it? They deal with it in the sense like they're going to be like, oh, mom, I can't do this, I give up. Or are you going to find a way to overcome it? And that's one of the reasons why I love school, because school is like the mini playground, the mini game of life. So if you can overcome those obstacles and develop yourself to help yourself score an A, getting it the smarter way, not just like reading and just doing it one way, it's like finding another way that suits you. And getting the A in school, it's like training yourself to be scoring A's in real life as well. Because in school, it's not just about the textbooks, it's also about communicating with teachers, being able to talk with friends, being able to have a life, And I'm a big believer of that. Now, of course, not everyone learns the same way. Some people go to a school, some people have a school at home. And to me, it works because it's the context of giving them the chance to explore something, play with something, make mistakes out of something, and then learn from something. And I think that there is no building, room, or even a roof that can ever be labeled as a school, because everywhere is a school. Absolutely. And that's why, to me, I'm a big believer of schools, not just the building, but actually the concept of education, to go and explore, make mistakes, and learn from it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad that we have this interview with you, because right now, many parents are stuck at home with their kids. Even though they don't go to school, at home is still a school. It's still a place where they get to learn, experience, make mistakes, and grow from it.
At home, it's supposed to be somewhere where it's safe to make mistakes. At school, you get marked down. People may call you stupid. People aren't so kind. At home, we celebrate success. If kids are into movies, watch Meet the Robinsons. Keep moving forward. Woo, I love that. It should be a celebrated thing. At school, in my opinion, this is part of the reason we don't buy into school.
Yeah,
is it's not a celebrated thing. If you fail, you're a failure, you're stupid. I don't like that concept. Failing is great. We learn from failing. It's such a great thing. And kids at home right now, I keep doing posts about, how old are your kids? What can we do? Let's help you create. My post that blew up the biggest during this time is stop trying to teach your kids. Use this time to get to know them.
Oh, wow.
While this time can be stressful for parents trying to earn income, I want kids to look back and go, God, do you remember 2020? Wow, I got to spend 3 months with my parents. We actually got to know each other, got to connect. We repaired any bonds that were broken. We really got to deal with that. We deal with that on a daily basis. If something does happen and we have a little drama, it's like, okay, what went wrong down here? Communication. It's so simple. Communicate. The family meetings. When we tell everyone to use our book as the meeting prop, whoever's holding it talks. Whoever isn't, shh. You want to argue, you want to respond, you want to comment on their comments, let them have it out. Hear each other, actually listen, take it in. If you need to, take notes. So when it comes to your turn, you can respond to that. And by the time it comes to your turn, you'll be responding, not reacting.
I think the most
stop
important
trying to teach them. 3 months off school is not going to kill them and their education. They can't go out and play with their friends and do all this crazy stuff. Get to know them. Find something you both enjoy. Do something together. Learn a new skill. Just do something where you two can get to actually know your child, especially if they're older.
This is in a very big way, a very big blessing to actually have as a family, because the thing that parents need to start off doing, it's something that might seem very daunting to some parents, like sitting down, having a meeting, communicating, talking, sharing about what they think is good, what they think is not good, can be quite scary for some parents, because no one's excited to hear what is bad about them, or no one's excited about hearing what they should be doing differently, especially for the first or second time. So to many parents, it might be quite scary, but I look at it this way. Do the work now, enjoy the benefits later. Or enjoy yourself now and suffer the consequence later. I'm a big believer of that.
People have a choice right now to be present, to be really present with their kids, because that doesn't happen enough. So to actually have people be present and in the moment with their kids, oh my gosh, what a gift. People don't have time to do that normally, to actually really be there. And with the family meetings, the first one might be a bit awkward and not say much. Keep doing it. It will start. If you can mend all the little things that happen, you end up with these teenagers that hate their parents and they don't know why, because it's a stacking of loads of little things over time. If you can knock all those little things out on a weekly basis, that is a strength. That is a strong bond.
Correct.
If you can be that open that your kid can come at you and say, you said this today in front of my friends at me, it made me feel like this, I didn't like it. If they can say that to you, you can say, oh, I'm sorry, I reacted instead of responding. I just had a moment, you've triggered something, I'm so sorry, and apologize there then. It's forgotten. If you let these things build and build, you have kids that hate their parents and they don't even know why. They resent something about them and they can't quite put their finger on what it was.
That's why anyone that does psychology, when they come to therapy, most of the issues are things that happen when they were young children. And it's because at that stage, they don't fully understand how to deal with things. And because of not being able to deal with things, it becomes a burden for the individual and how their behavior and characters shape and form. So in a very big way, parents, giving yourself this opportunity that since you're now stuck at home with your kids, use this opportunity to just like sit down. This can happen in 10 minutes. Just share. If you're not comfortable about sharing something that you might not want to hear yet, let's start with something positive first. Who says must be talking about negative? Talk about something positive. It's like, hey, you know what? I want to share about 2 things that I noticed in today's day that we done awesome. Just start something, because communication is the key. Now, once you're comfortable sharing something positive, then you can start sharing about, hey, you know what? I noticed you did this so well. At the same time, I would like to explore something that I think we can do better. Would that be open for everyone? And that becomes a gate towards moving forward to things that are potentially that is more sensitive, but is doable. I think
we call it a sandwich. This is how we do our family meetings.
Yeah.
So you got an 8 because you did this, this, and this, and that was awesome. You need to do this and this and this to get a 2. But overall this week, boom. So it's amazing praise. This needs improvement. Amazing praise. So they remember the praise, but then they go away thinking, okay, I need to do that to get the next 2.
That's cool because I call it the hamburger technique. The buns are all the positive stuff, and then the meat is the things to improve on. So it's like, wow, we're very similar on that. We love food, so can't run away from it. All right. So in a very big way, I think today's session, the session that we have with each other, even though time has flew definitely as an hour already, and I guess when you have a very good context, especially good context, and then you know that this is something that works, talking about it is so easy. Now, I'm a big believer that it's not just about the knowledge of knowing something. I'm a big believer of taking action. So I applaud every mommy and daddy that's watching this. Start something. It could be taking the post-it note, writing the 10-second rule, putting it around the places that you know you get agitated. That could be a really good start already. Now, and then if you want to move even forward, remind yourself, hey, you know what? Let's take 10 minutes today. Sit down with our family members. If you're not comfortable sitting with everyone, just sit with your spouse. Just sit with one of your child. Just start something, because this end result to become an amazing mommy like Laura, it doesn't happen overnight. Something needs to start, something needs to happen, and the thing that you commit to do today could end up becoming the biggest magical thing that could happen for your family. So for me, if I were to give an advice, I would say just start doing something. Do the 10-second one, do the reminder, do some positive sharing, do some things of how can improve with the family. Because when you start doing something, you start getting results. And I'm excited to hear what your outcomes are. I love to hear how it go after 24 hours, what happened. Share in the comment below, send a personal message. And you know what? I'm also going to be linking Laura's details in the channel as well. I'm going to be putting her details down. If you want to get a copy of her book or her books or the children's books, put them over there so you can check them out yourselves and support it. Get the book, because not only do you get amazing materials that helps you become better mummies and daddies, but also you're giving 10% back to the community, which is awesome. I'm a big supporter of that as well. And Laura, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I know, you're busy on your side, but you're making time to share with all the mummies and daddies out there. Now, before we say goodbye, any advice or any tips you want to give out, the last few things that you want to share with everyone?
I think you've touched on my most important share, which is the 10-second rule. No matter their age, even your partner, it makes a difference. And realizing their intentions. No one gets up and thinks, how can I annoy mummy and daddy today? Just see what their intention was, because sometimes the breadsticks, the flour, you have no idea what they see. Especially when they're little, they see way more magic than we do. So the 10-second rule, see the intention, and don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to mess up and fail too. Celebrate, because the more guilty you feel about doing it, the more you're realizing you're doing it. So don't think, I can't do this and give up. I've had 7 years practice. I'm pretty good at this now because I've mindfully practiced this for 7 years. In the beginning, it took a lot to not respond. To not react, not to go like our parents would. Not to parent like your parent is a huge mindful skill. You can do this. And while we're on the coronavirus thing, have a bubble bath. Have time for you. Go meditate, do whatever it is that you need to do to find you time. When they go to bed, even if it's just half an hour of reading a book, watching a movie, do something for you every day.
That's a very powerful parenting tip. A lot of times parenting tips, people think about doing it for their children. No, take care of yourself. Give 5-10 minutes to your own self, because when you're centered, when you're calm, when you're okay, then you're able to do things and deliver, because your reactions usually is a mirror of what you have inside of you. So I think that's great advice. Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing. Now, guys, if you have any questions for Laura, you can also feel free to comment in the comment section below. And if there's a lot of comments over there, and if we can, we'll answer it as soon as we can. If the comments are so good that it gives us permission to disturb Laura once again to do another maybe interview to answer those questions, that would be super awesome. I would love that. Okay. But of course, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you like what you have watched and listened to today in today's session, remember to like the video and of course share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. And more importantly, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification so that you will be informed every time when we come up with new videos just like this. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us today. Looking forward to hearing and seeing you guys in the future. Take care and stay awesome. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.